Hello everyone, welcome to Rise IS. I am Alok Vardhan, and in today's prelims wide session we will discuss a very important article from today's The Hindu newspaper on index of service production. So, title of today's article is Index of Service Production to be released with 60-day lag with base year 2024-25. So, let's see what covered in this article. So, this article covers the recent new latest and first time publication of new index which is famously known as index of service production and whose base year is 2024-25 and which will be published in 60-day lag. So say exact timeline of publishing this article also discuss exact timeline of publishing this article, and this article also discussed who will publish this index and what covered in this index. So you can ask why we have chosen this article. We have chosen this article mainly because IIP and recently introduced any economic index or any recent economic indicator become very much important theme for UPSC preliminary exam. As you can see, UPSC in 2012 and 2013 also asked a question about index of industrial production or 8 core industries weightage. 8 core industry weightage. So this topic become very much relevant for upcoming preliminary exam. So let's start today's discussion with the context of this article. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, famously known as MoSPI, finalized India's first index of service production. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation finalized India's first index of service production. It is the service sector equivalent of IIP. So as what IIP is for industries, same ISP is for service sector. So this this fact becomes very much important for UPSC prelims perspective. So kindly remember what IIP is for industrial production and service and production through industry, what ISP is for service sector. Now let's see some key details about index of service production. So nodal agency for publication of index of service production is National Statistical Office, famously known as NSO, which comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Base year for this is 2024-25. So this publication, so frequency of this publication is published every monthly with 60-day lag. So first time it will release on 29th June. So see, important committee under is, so technical advisory committee chaired by Devanjani Ghosh from Niti Aayog will head this committee. So this service index covers 40 plus service subsector, for example, real estate, transport, IT sector, etc. Now we'll see calculation methodology and data sources. So this index is a output based index using hard statistical data, and primary source of it is for primary source is GSTN data, production and outward supplies. So and for supplementary data, it is related to administrative data from ministry and regulators. And for survey data, it is relied on Annual Survey of Incorporated Service Sector Enterprises, famously known as ASI for enterprises level data. For inflation adjustment for an inflation adjustment deflator, it used non-food consumer price index and sector specific consumer price index as a yardstick. And for long-term data, it will for long-term regulation, Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade is developing producers price index. So as you know, the we are moving away from wholesale price index to producers price index. So with the transition of producer price index, uh, recently Government of India start publication of wholesale price index along with producers price index also. So within next 5 years, we will move away from wholesale price index to producers price index. So this this mm, this index is relevant with the transition of producers price index. So now see which sector is included in this service index. So first of all, informal sector excluded due to data gaps. We 33% of service 33% of service sector become unrecognizable through economic indicator because there is no quantifiable data to measure this sector. Now, GST exempt sector which are exempted by GST is also excluded in this index. So, mainly health and education, 10% of service. So, mainly health and education, which covers 10% of service gross value added, is also excluded in this index. Now, let's see some key detail about index of industrial production. So, IIP is a volume-based macroeconomic indicator which measures short-term changes in the physical production of industrial good. So, IIP is a value-based macroeconomic indicator which measures short-term changes in physical production of industrial good. So, IIP is compiled and released monthly by National Statistical Office under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Now, we see what is the similarity and differences between index of industrial production and index of service production. So, base year for index of service production is 2024-2025 and base year for IAP is 2022-23. So, what what is the coverage of this scheme? So, in ISP, coverage sector is service which include banking, trade, IT, transport and real estate, and in IIP mainly covered manufacturing, mining and electricity sector. So ISP measure is a output based service activity and IIP is a volume based industrial production activity. So for primary data, it relies on G, goods and service tax network and administrative record. So, and for primary data, index of industrial production relies on physical production data from factories. So please attempt this question to give further boost to your preparation. And thank you for attending today's session. You can download complete PDF from our website. And for further preparation, please visit our YouTube channel and our website. Thank you.